I think I've had an amazing experience within the NHS, but the things that I saw there were pretty horrific. I saw women upset and very distressed because they would lose babies that they wanted. And in the same token, there would be women who would be given abortifacient drugs, and they would produce babies that they found was a relief for them, you know, the products of conception, as they were called. And that haunted me. How would you prepare a woman for this? As a midwife, you live through the horror of the first one that you see. If there had been somebody there to say, this is what an abortion is, this is what it looks like, this is what it has the potential to do to you, I might then have considered that's what's needed, that's what's lacking. Yeah. My name's Lynn. I have just gone 63 years of age. I was in the NHS for over 30 years. I worked initially as a nurse. I did my nurse training and then my midwifery training, and then latterly health visiting. I worked as a health visitor. It's totally anti-life. How can it save lives and how can it help women, you know? If a woman chooses to go this route, then she needs support. She needs care, she needs counselling, she needs listening to. It was 1977, so I was 20 years of age. I was a student nurse and I was engaged to a chap, and I was pregnant and denied it at first. So by the time that I got round to having a termination of pregnancy or an abortion, I was quite late, within the second trimester. At the time, I remember being so frightened and alone, and the pregnancy advisory service was no counselling really. The signature by for agreement was something that took place really without my knowledge. And I found myself travelling on my own, and a bus picked us up. There were several women that got off the train, and we were looked after and cared for, and then sent home. My feelings at the time were relief, and I understand very much the burden of, you know, not necessarily at the time thinking of this as a child, but as a problem. And I did consider keeping this pregnancy. It was never thought of as a baby, because that would have been required a different thought. But really the problem needed to go away. It's always with you. You know, even though you think you're strong and you think that you made the right decision, it comes up with anniversaries, and you think, oh gosh, we're in 2020 now, and I know that the pregnancy, the abortion was a boy. Somebody told me that, and that haunted me because it was faceless, but I knew that it was a boy. And I often think, well, he would be, you know, 43 now, and I wonder, he would have been the eldest child and a son. So those sadnesses stay with a woman. I think I've had an amazing experience within the NHS as a nurse, as a student nurse on a gynecological ward, and then in midwifery. Obviously, the things that I saw there were pretty horrific. I saw in our sluices, where there were sluices in the middle of the ward, women upset and very distressed because they would lose babies that they wanted. And in the same token, there would be women who would be given abortifacient drugs, and they would produce babies that they found was a relief for them, you know, the products of conception, as they were called. So we would find terrible babies, young fetuses gasping for air in kidney dishes. We were encouraged to look and to see and to understand from a very medical point of view. This is what a child looks like at 22 weeks, at 24 weeks, at 28 weeks. And I could never understand then, when I became a midwife, why it was that other children would be fought for, you know, at this gestation, when we would have births at 28 and 29 weeks, and the paediatricians would be called, and I know the years had gone on a little since then, but to look at a baby, and it is a baby, laying in a kidney dish, or sometimes they were too big to fit in a kidney dish. They would just be laid on a piece of paper and wait, and then we would go, I can't remember this, that's just come to mind. There was a chart that we would fill by the side of this product of conception, that we had to look and see whether it was moving, and when it stopped moving, then we would record at what time. So it was an hourly check chart that you would go back and look to see if it was moving, or sometimes you would just touch it to see if there was any response. And then it would be just wrapped up and put in an incinerator box for incineration. I can only imagine the horror of how would you prepare a woman for this? How would you? Because if you said, well, as the result of your action of taking this pill, this is a picture of what you're going to see, then I wonder whether many women would go ahead with it. As a midwife, you live through the horror of the first one that you see. It's not that you harden your heart, but sometimes you see so many that you have to protect yourself. So there's that aspect of it. But a woman who has never seen this, it is horrific, you know? What does she do with it, you know? What's she going to do when she finally sees this result of her action? You know, that's a terrible thing for a woman to go through. It's not hopeless. Forgiveness is beautiful. And yeah, that's how I feel, that I have a wonderful Saviour who has forgiven me. And that's why I can speak from a place of healing and of being healed.